The internet now is full of articles and videos with pretentious titles like Free Education in England or Free Study in the UK. Well, I must say that a lot of them are just misleading. Something does not apply to everyone and is relevant only for British students. And let us see in detail what is true and false and what options you can consider if you plan to study in the UK for free. In this video, I will include information for both schoolchildren and university students. By the way, all of them are called students in Great Britain. Here, I'll analyze the difference between grants and scholarships. We will understand which scholarships are most popular and which are suitable for Russian students. And we'll discuss options for obtaining a residence permit, even for parents of students. Free education in the UK. Does it even exist? Just 10 to 15 years ago, the Brits didn't have to pay for studying in universities. Actually, they did, but not much. So there is a risk to face outdated information that tuition fees in the UK aren't very high. But this information is not only outdated, but also initially referred only to the British. How much do foreigners really pay for universities and schools in comparison with the Brits? Let's start with the fact that the cost of education in British universities is based on a number of factors: ranking of an educational institution, duration of the program, additional classes, and accommodation. Studying in a British university costs an average of £9,000 to £30,000 per year. But there are certain majors, medicine for instance, which costs up to £40,000 a year. Studying in a private boarding school costs approximately the same amount of money. And now, listen up. If you find an educational institution with a tuition significantly lower than in the country on average, keep in mind that this school probably doesn't have a license to admit foreign students. What does it mean? Yes, you may be enrolled, but after that you won't be able to get a visa because you won't have a legitimate document confirming the school's right to admit foreigners. And that's it. Also, don't consider public schools until you've bought yourself a house there. That is the same as if you try to get your child enrolled at a Russian school without residence registration. The immediate question is, why do I even need the UK school if I can go directly into university? Well, it seems perfect, but it's not that easy. So, firstly, in the majority of cases, top UK universities won't accept you if you have not completed 2 years of study at the British high school. Middle-ranked universities may enroll you. There are special one-year preparation programs for that with a lot of different variations, and I can make a special video about them if you're interested. Write about it in the comments section or visit our website smapse.com. There is an online assistant and you can ask all your questions there. So, which schools are paid and which are free? Even British students don't necessarily study for free. Just like in many countries of the world, there are public and private schools. In public schools, parents have to pay only for school uniform, meals, and excursions. In private schools, they pay for everything. There are over 2,500 private schools in the UK where more than 600,000 of students study. Speaking about public schools, they are divided into religious, non-religious, and so-called grammar schools. One can be enrolled to a public school of a non-religious type by the place of residence. The closer a kid lives to one, the more chances he has to be enrolled. Those whose siblings are already studying there are also more likely to get in. There are public schools with more hours allocated to music, drawing, sports, etc. All of them are also free since they are financed by the taxes of working citizens. Religious schools correspond to the educational program but focus on a deeper learning of religions. The chances to be admitted are higher if parents with their children go to church every Sunday and have a special certificate about that. Grammar school is like something similar to Russian gymnasiums. The origin of the name dates back to times when such schools were closely associated with monasteries where Latin grammar was studied. Our compatriots pay attention to these type of schools as the standards of education in them are kinda closer to ours. It's fundamental with a wide range of subjects and a big amount of daily homework. That is, these schools are really academic. Nowadays, there are just over 230 grammar schools in the UK. All of them are free for the Brits, and they are selective. That means that there is a selection based on an exam and an interview. An interesting fact, UCL University, one of the world's leading universities, undertook a study which showed that grammar schools do not give any social advantages to its students. Just an interesting fact. The price of studying in a private schools on average is about £17,000 a year without accommodation. Such schools may be selective with the selection of students according to academic criteria and non-selective, that is, without selection. Private schools are also divided into day schools and boarding schools without or with accommodation respectively. Accommodation with a child in the UK. The first thought which comes to the mind of any non-working parent is, can I rent a flat over there and drive my child to school myself? Well, and you don't have to pay for the aforementioned boarding, that is, for accommodation for your child. Some say I will make him a meatball soup and cottage cheese pancakes in the morning myself. I've got good news and bad news for you. The good news is, yes, you can do that. The bad news is that you can only do this until your child is 12 years old. Yes, that's the British rules. Until then, a parent is given a special visa which gives him or her the right to stay there permanently. But as soon as the child turns 12, a parent has to go back to his homeland and send the child to the boarding school. Also, it's worth mentioning that only one of the parents can live in Britain with such visa. And yet, if you're a mother or a father of a student until 12 years old, and if you're planning to move with your child there, then you'll need a visa, parent of a child student. To obtain it, you have to provide an invitation from an educational institution and a bank statement confirming that you have enough funds to cover expenses on accommodation for the school year. And this is a whole new story, so you can read about it following the link in the description. It is about getting a UK visa. Scholarships in Great Britain. Who can get them? One of the most famous scholarships for students applying for a master degree is Achieving Scholarship, which fully covers the cost of education and all the expenses on accommodation, flights and visa. And that's what we've been waiting for. The financing is provided by the Foreign and Commonwealth Office and partner organizations. This scholarship is not for the UK's citizens, but especially for foreigners. Well done, Brits, this is good news. The bad news is that only 50,000 students in total have got this scholarship. And you're like, wow, I'm applying. But don't be so fast. We did our digging, and this scholarship was instituted in 1983, so it's been 39 years. Do your division and you'll get 1,282 scholarships per year, and you're like, well, that's not bad either. Wait. That's not it. Applications are submitted from 100 countries in the world. It means that Russia can get 12 scholarships. And there's even more. Achieving itself points out that the number of scholarships varies from country to country. For instance, Russia, India, Nepal and China can get 30 scholarships in total. A simple calculation tells us that Russia receives 8 scholarships. About 20 go to students from Pakistan, Egypt, Indonesia, Mexico, Brazil, Thailand and South Korea. Less than 5 scholarships are available for students from Australia and Canada. Notable Achieving Fellows include Alvaro Uribe Vélez, the president of Colombia from 2002 to 2010, Maxim Katz, the director of City Projects Foundation and the first sports poker champion, Asik Zansevar, Russian science journalist and winner of the Enlightener Award. To submit an application, the applicant must have not only completed higher education, but also the story which would be interesting for commission. Usually, contenders have already got merits in some fields, they've participated and won different competitions, and they've got some working experience. It's also necessary to have great English skills and leadership qualities. Another important condition is that everyone seeking the scholarship must justify the program he chooses and explain how this education will help the applicant at his homeland. It's usually not possible to stay in the UK after studying on a chevening scholarship. A candidate must be at least 18 years old, but the upper limit isn't set. You can apply at 60 or at 70. Those who have received UK government scholarships within the last 5 years don't have the right to submit. When to apply for the scholarship? Typically, the application period starts in August and ends in the beginning of November, that is about 1 year before the education starts. Applicants need to fill in a form on the website, write a few essays, and choose 3 master programs on which they would like to study. A future student also has to write to a university, submit documents, and pass a university entrance test, a cover letter, an interview, or something else. Every university has its own requirements, which you should check on the website. The level of English proficiency must be verified by an international certificate. With this scholarship, you can even go to such famous top-notch universities like Oxford or Cambridge. For Russian students willing to enroll there, the Hill Foundation scholarship is also provided. It covers tuition fee and includes an additional grant for running costs that is about £14,000 in total. To apply for this scholarship, you need to have a higher education obtained on the territory of your native country. You cannot apply for the scholarship if you have already studied abroad. Everyone who receives the scholarship must return to their homeland for at least a year. Up to 15 such scholarships are offered annually. Scholarship holders have a right to do science research in any field. This scholarship can be used not only for master's programs, but also for bachelors to get a second higher education in another field. There is a special scholarship for those who are willing to study at Cambridge Trust Scholarship. All students enrolled in Cambridge bachelor's programs take part in the contest for obtaining this scholarship automatically. The university reduces the tuition cost for applicants with better academic performance. MLE Cambridge Scholarship. Russians enrolled in such Cambridge bachelor's programs as math, physics, engineering, and chemical engineering are able to get the £16,000 scholarship. The granting is based on academic performance, so there is no need for a special claim for that. Therefore, the university may grant the scholarship based on grades during the studying. And by the way, one of the students, while still studying at school, hacked Cambridge website and was excluded, but Cambridge granted him a scholarship. You can consider that option. Speaking about studying in private schools, almost all of them give scholarships. Yes, almost all of them. But it's granted only after the beginning of an academic year and usually only to those who are the best in the field of a sport or an art. Great Britain does not just help students to realize their potential through hobbies, but also encourages them by reducing the tuition cost. A scholarship and a grant. What is the difference? Firstly, let's find out what they have in common. Both are types of gratuitous financial assistance provided for the period of study. The main difference is that scholarship is usually paid by university in portions, meanwhile a grant goes from the government, third-party organizations, or foundations, and all at once. Grants can either cover all expenses, including accommodation, or partially covering only the cost of education. It can be short-term grants lasting from a few weeks to several months, and the long-term ones for up to 3 years. There are grants for researchers, language courses, internship, bachelor's, master's, or PhD program. Where to find them? There is an aggregate website recommended by the UK Border Agency. It's called Turn to Us. And thanks to me, you can find the link in the description to this video. Click it and find out more about it. Alright, let's move to scholarships. There are state, university, and private scholarships in the UK. Generally, universities award scholarships based on an academic merits and revenue of a family, which means that after they look at your documents and may decide to do a reduction if considered necessary. There are also sports and art scholarships. What should you apply for, a grant or a scholarship? First of all, you need to choose an educational institution you would like to study at and learn type of assistance it offers for students. You can find this information on university's website. If your English level does not allow you to understand what's written on the website, well, you should forget about getting scholarships for a while and start learning English. Because, as I said before, scholarships and grants are issued only on condition of excellent language proficiency. Based on your objectives and background, you need to decide what kind of assistance to choose. For instance, if you continue studies in a given field and plan to do particular research, grant probably would be more suitable for this purpose. But if it's your first undergraduate or master education, it would be more comfortable to get assistance monthly, so you should choose a scholarship. It used to be considered that only geniuses could study in Britain or other countries for free, but nowadays it's not even necessary to have exceptionally excellent grades in a diploma or certificate. Sometimes a great motivation letter with a sincere desire to study at the best universities in the UK influences the decision of the admission committee, and it influences way more than a paper with grades. And let me add one more thing from myself. Any university has specialities with a lower occupancy rate, and typically, universities put a list of discount